How we doing, everyone? Welcome to the inaugural video for the F1 series. We are talking Formula One. Usually you can find our videos for NASCAR content here for Fantasy Sports Insight. I am TK Nation 47, joined with Mega Roller 31. Mega, what have we stumbled upon here? What is this Formula One racing?
Well, if you're a NASCAR DFS player, you're going to have to kind of retrain yourself because this scoring system is majorly different. And honestly, TK and I do not know much more than probably most of you do about F1. But here's what we do know. My model system has worked really well at predicting finishes and projections for Xfinity, for trucks, and for cups for 3 or 4 years now. We've been able to dialed in and tune it in and to really make it work for us. So transferring it over to this wasn't that hard. And I think the advantage is understanding how the DK scoring works here, because it's not like
That's
NASCAR.
the big issue,
In NASCAR, if you have 38 cars in the field, the car that finishes 38 gets 1 point. But in this one, you have to be in the top 10 to get any points. So 10th gets 1 point, and then it progressively goes up from there. And if you finish in the top 10, it's called classified, that you classified, or classification. So there's terminology here too. The other neat thing
we're
about
all learning
is that you have 10 teams of 2 drivers each competing, and DK awards you 5 bonus points if you beat your teammate. So stacking teams might not be the greatest strategy because you're automatically sacrificing 5 points. And a lot of these races are only maybe 35 to 70 laps, depending on the course, but they're long road courses. Think like Watkins Glen, Sonoma. So it takes a minute and a half or so to complete a full lap. And there's not that many of them. So there's not many lead lap points.
57 laps.
Right. In this race particularly. And you get only 0.1. So for every 10 laps you lead, you get 1 point. So there's only 5.7 points up for grabs. So this scoring are going to be very, very low. So if you look at it that way, 5 points is pretty important. So we'll get into that a little bit. You also, it's really heavily weighted. Like in NASCAR, it goes progressive, the top 10, I think you get 5 points or 4 points, and 3 in the 20s. And so it progressively goes up what you get, but there's huge jumps here. First place, 25 points. Second place, 18 points. Third place, 15 points. So there's a 10-point difference, where in NASCAR, you're probably earning maybe 1 or 2 points difference between first and third. So a lot of stuff to get used to there. It's a more of a showdown format too, where you
captain mode showdown is the format DraftKings is using for its scoring system, but with the twist that you're teaching us along the way here.
So you're going to pick 5 drivers. One of them you have to captain, but then you also have to pick a manufacturer. And the manufacturer gets points based on how the 2 drivers do. So they get points for where they finish, the same as the drivers do, but there's also some bonuses also if they ran the fastest lap of the race. So a driver gets a bonus and the manufacturer will get the bonus, but there's only one of them. Where in NASCAR, there's fast laps for every single lap. Somebody has the fastest lap and you get scoring for that. This one, they only award 1. It's the fastest lap of the whole race and you get 3 points. And again, in this scoring system where scores are very, very low, that 3 points could be huge. And it's probably going to be somebody that qualified well in practice and was up front. The other things that you get is if both teams' cars finished in the top 10, you get a 2-point bonus. You get a 5-point bonus. Actually, if you get 5-point bonus, if both of them finished in the top 10. I'm sorry. When I say classified, that doesn't mean that they finished in the top 10. Again, we're still learning this. Classified means that they finished 90% of the race. So think about if you're play soccer, don't they have to go 60 minutes or so in order to get the clean sheet?
Yeah.
bonus. So
Yeah.
it's like that. So they have to finish 90% of the laps to get the classification bonus. So that's nothing to do with placement. So you get 2 points if both your drivers finish at least 90% of the laps. You get 5 points if both your drivers finish in the top 10, and you get 3 additional bonus points, which I think it should, if I was doing a scoring, I would flip it and give 3 points for the top 10 and 5 points if both of them finish like first, second, or third, which is called the podium. But it's reversed. So you only get 3 points additional if your driver finishes first, second, or third on the podium for the manufacturer. So you got to look at, so it's, you don't really want to stack like both drivers, and DK doesn't let you do that. So you can't take like the 2 Ferrari drivers and Ferrari as a team. So that helps.
You only get 2.
Correct. So you can take both drivers, which again, I don't know, maybe we'll find a time where that strategy makes sense, where, who cares about the 5 points? It works better if this team's going to finish 1 and 2, maybe they'll outscore, and who cares about the 5 points? So we did. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, so far after, talking with you pre-show, I also wanted to shout out our esports guy, FSI Kruger, Eddie. He was been talking to me a little bit about some of the things he knows about F1. He's followed the sport a little bit closer than we have. And he was telling me some things just based on, practices and, qualifying. Basically, that those events leading up to the race are pretty much half of the race, in a sense that, all their practice times are qualifying. It could, if a team that qualifies poorly, they may start the race, and if they don't get inside the top 10 within the first 13 laps, that they might just park it, and they might not, they might just save their car for the next week, not risk wrecking the car, and that's it, it's done. And they'll get 0 points. You won't get any of the bonus points. The team doesn't get any points either. So you have to really pay attention to drivers in practice, drivers in qualifying, and you gotta hope that they start the race well, and if they go down a lap, it could be detrimental. So I didn't get a chance to watch practice, but I did see a little bit of the qualifying. I followed it a little bit, and I do know that Lewis Hamilton is the GOAT. That's about as much as I know so far for F1. I'm learning just as much as you guys are, but like Mega said, these models, they help out tremendously. They at least put the math in front of your face. It gives you something to look at. And here we are, just 2 guys just trying to help you become better at DFS. We're trying to beat the system. We're not trying to beat you. Hey, if one of us wins first and you come in second, sure. If you comes in first and we come in second, sure. We're all winning money in the end, right? Absolutely. So that's what we're trying to do here, and hopefully we can, as a team, come together and win collectively. Now, Mega, go ahead and start us off. Where do we begin?
Well, the couple other things that we need to talk about here. This is the first race of the season. This is similar, if you follow NASCAR, they change cars. So this is their next gen car. So there are some questions on it. Some teams that have been very dominant and strong in the past don't look as good. Mercedes in particular looks a little bit slow, but there's thoughts that potentially maybe they're sandbagging. They haven't showed their full hand yet, and that maybe they get out into this race and then it's like the tortoise and the hare, and then all of a sudden they like blow them away. The other thing is like Haas really hasn't been as fast in the past, but they've looked really good with this new car. And the thought with that, and we said, I'm assuming it's the same Haas as in Stewart Haas Racing. Maybe
it is.
Okay. Well, we know we don't know for fact, but TK and I have speculated that when the next gen car came in, they kind of mailed in 2020. They didn't put much. Oh yeah. That car was going away. And I think the same exact thing happened with this team is they knew a new car was coming. So why for the 21 season are you going to focus on a car that matters nothing? Just go through the motions and then focus all your money and your testing and your budget towards the next one. And I think they did that, and they did it well, and the results seem like they're starting to pay off. But obviously the head of the class is the Ferrari and the Red Bull Racing team here. So, you know, it's kind of interesting because you got to pick like the team and the drivers. So I guess at this point we'll just start at the top and
take it
down.
away. I have Charles Leclerc's car right here for us. It's not just one big Ferris wheel, whichever side it's on. Charles Leclerc won the pole. He said, I have a little snippets here from qualifying. It was just a matter of time before we were back in the mix. I think a lot of our whole team and the hard work that everyone has done to put our car back where it belongs is words.
I think he's a very strong cash play here. I'm not going to list like a core play as one of these top guys because I'm going to give you two value plays that I really feel strongly with for the core play. So I think that he is in consideration.
Looks like a really, really cheap price tag too for a captain slot.
Yeah.
I know we're not trying to pick dominators here in this sport. We're trying to get finishing position. Seems like he has a really fast car. I like the price tag, and maybe that helps you fit Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen.
Yeah, it is possible. If you captain him, then you're going to have to make some choices. I don't think you can get like two studs up here, and you're going to have to punt your racing team, which they call constructors. So I know it's all new terminology. So, but definitely I like him in cash. And I think everybody like Verstappen, this is like playing Kyle Busch in like trucks or in,
I assume,
you know, he was like playing James Harden a couple years ago, like or playing Christian McCaffrey a couple years ago. Like this is like the elite guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the world is on him, and I see he's a cash play. I think he's going to be probably highest ownership. I think he's going to be like the highest captain.
I would love to see this guy wreck on lap one.
I know, and his car has seemed to be like much faster than. And if you look at, I listed the practice speed here, but I guess they use different like hardnesses of tires for practice speeds, for practices and practice runs, so that can be deceiving. But he like laid down some of like the fastest laps out there, and he's starting right next to Leclerc, and he could get out there and just like lead all 57 laps of this. Like that's what people think. The thing that really concerns me is that for the season he had a 13% DNF rate, which isn't bad. I took it out of the models. I took it out of here just so it would give him a higher projection. But out of 8 races at this specific track, he has only finished 4 of them. He's only finished half of them. He's got a 50% DNF rate. So I will definitely be playing him, but I will have some lineups without him. I won't have 100% ownership because if he has another DNF rate here,
and an edge.
Exactly. And it was the last race, I think here, Lewis Hamilton, I believe, won, if I remember reading the notes correctly. And it's because Verstappen like missed a turn or something. And then I don't think he even ended up finishing, because if you fall that far behind, then if you can't make it up, like you said, they're going to save the car and try not to wreck it and, you know, just fight on for another day. So I see a little volatility here. And where everybody else just sees dominance, I just kind of look at that DNF rate and just it scares me a little bit.
Interesting. I think for a GPP strategy, that makes a lot of sense. Honestly, we're talking one of the highest owned plays on the slate.
Well, for and here's where like the correlation comes in. If in a GPP, you're going to play Sergio Perez, because if Verstappen does have issues, he's starting 4th. He's got a really good car also. and he's going to get the 5-point bonus, and his ownership
I like
is going
that.
to be so much lower. Unless like people don't understand the scoring system and they stack both Red Bull drivers, or they just frankly don't care and they think they're going to finish first and second, and which at that point it would be probably make more sense to play one of them and play the team, because you're going to get
Play
so
the
many
team.
bonus points for that. But anyways,
Now we're all making sense.
yeah. So, but then you also have like Sands Jr. here, who's also a Ferrari guy, who has been okay. Just looking at his matrix, my model has him finishing 5th, but I think that I'm playing because he also has a 50% DNF rate here also.
Look at that lap led percentage. It's not that high.
Yeah. So he's a little bit concerning here also. So I think he's another GPP play, but if something happens to
Clerk.
yeah, then definitely he makes sense on there. But I do think that he could finish in the top 3. So that's why, when it comes down Ferrari or Red Bull for a constructor, I think I'm going to be leaning Ferrari and a Leclerc.
So I have one little snippet here on Carlos. He said, "It has not been an easy weekend for me up until qualifying. We managed to put together a very strong performance this afternoon. Fighting for the pole until the very last attempt is good news." So it sounds like he struggled all weekend, found something in qualifying, and that's the result, a 3rd place.
And that's why I really like Ferrari as the team here. I know it's pretty expensive, but they're the 3rd most expensive. So, I mean, I think, it definitely works out. So
Leclerc finishes like 4th, Sands finishes like 6th, or Leclerc finishes like 3rd, Sands finishes 6th. You get the bonus for them both being in the top 10. And what's their salary for their team? Only 9,400. I think that's workable, right?
But if you look at some of the other ones, they're like much like Mercedes was, I think the pricing came out like based on last year, and like Mercedes was such a stronger team. Again, they could come out and blow everybody away. Maybe they were sandbagging. Maybe, Hamilton hasn't lost it, and he came back just because he had a bitter taste in his mouth, almost threatened retirement, but he wants to come back just because of how last season ended. And Russell has been decent also. So they have a strong team. That's probably where they're the top. But Ferrari, I think, has really come with this new car and really put things together pretty well.
So here is one snippet I have on Mercedes as a team. Lewis Hamilton made a comment earlier today that I had found. It said, "Mercedes not in the fight with Ferrari and Red Bull after worst Bahrain qualifying since 2009. This is the worst he's qualified in this country since 2009. That's a very long time."
Yeah. So
I think that's concerning, but I think that's an edge.
Yeah, I think he can
talking about the best of all time, right?
Like, right. And I think
the King Petty, right?
Yeah, Richard Petty of F1.
Right.
There's probably other guys in history that have been better than him, but currently he's like,
what was that one guy's name? Sens, right?
Sure.
Am I thinking of something else?
I don't know. I don't know. If we were talking like NASCAR, I'd say, or like Indy, I'd say like AJ Foyt or Emerson Fittipaldi or like, Alan Senior, Junior,
Marco Andretti.
Like these guys as much. I don't. Danica Patrick, maybe she was the best F1 driver ever. I don't know.
I knew I was going to butcher the history of this sport coming into this, so my expectations aren't high. I know I'll get crucified. It's fine. I'm here for the glory if we do well.
But Hamilton is, I think you can play him in cash. I know there's concerns.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think definitely he's stronger than Russell. So I think he can get the 5-point bonus. I think he can sniff the top 3 definitely, and he should be solid in the top 10. So my favorite play on the slate is Bottas. I think he's very underpriced here at 4,600. I think I'm going to captain him in some of my lines, which is going to allow me to get like 2 of the top 5 guys that qualified in the same lineup and get a decent manufacturer. So it mathematically works out well. And I just really like, that I think that he can finish around where he starts. His teammate Zoo really didn't race at all in this series. Had a couple 3 exhibition races. I didn't find like any data. Like all the rest of these guys race in 21, and some of them took a year off and have raced since 2020. But I really think that the disparity between him starting 6th and his partner starting 15th, and just like the way there's practice speeds and everything, where I think that he definitely can beat his partner, and I think he's pretty much a lock in cash.
Yeah, I think so too. Reading a little bit just now, looks like he's very happy with his car. Their qualifying is not all that they have. They said they had a lot of good long run speed. He said even acknowledged that they're probably not battling for a top 4, but they said that they're definitely racing for points tomorrow. So that tells me he's going to really push it to stay inside that top 10. And like you said, finish ahead of his teammate. There's an extra 5, finish inside the top 10. That's 5. Even if he loses a couple of points in place differential, it's not what I'm worried about for that salary, right?
Right.
Yeah. Prime play for sure. You got me sold on Bottas, Alfa Romeo Racing. This is fun. Kevin Magnussen and Haas F1 team, 5,700. Now, he's going to be lower owned than Bottas, I assume, right?
Right. And I think that just because if people look at from what, again, we're not experts, but for what I've seen, Haas was not a great team last year, but it seems like they really have had some speed. His first practice, I think they had like some mechanical issue or something, but after that, his numbers were really good. His composite actually ended up like 8th highest. So that puts him in the top 10. I don't think he's going to challenge for like a podium position, but I think he can beat his partner, even though his partner seems to be decent, but not as good. And this might be a sleeper team to consider also, if you want to stack a lot of drivers. I think this is one of the cheaper teams that has a shot for both of the drivers to finish in the top 10. So, that's another thing to consider too. And with that $3,600, if you look at Alfa Romeo, Zoo is down to like 15th. I don't think he can get up to 10 without like some major other parts. Like there, a lot would have to happen for that. But I think Mick is close enough as his teammate to potentially get there. And like the price is like really nice there at 36.
So Mick Schumacher, Eddie had told me that is the Schumacher that ended up in that skiing accident and went MIA. This is his son.
Oh, wow.
And not only is it the legend Schumacher's son, he's also got someone's favorite number on there. Somebody's got my lucky number. Mega, we got a 47 on the track. I'm going to play it.
Okay.
I'm in on Mick Schumacher solely because he's in my lucky number. But that's some good analysis.
But I would only play him in a GPP because his partner looks strong enough. Like you're only looking at like maybe like 1 point potentially out of him. I don't think he's going to get the fastest lap. I don't think he's going to lead lap. I think he could potentially get 10 or 9. Yeah. So
I didn't say it made any sense.
Right. Okay. No problem. So,
I'm going purely off favorite.
My next prime play here is Fernando Alonso.
I love that name. I love that. Again, I'm sold already.
Just looking at him, the data has him finishing 9th, so he's only losing 1 position. But again, I think he's strong enough to beat his teammate Esteban Ocon. The side or some piece of his car fell off in like practice or qualifying, and they tried to get the piece there, but it wouldn't work. So I think they had to take a piece off of one of the older cars or something I read, and like kind of bandaged it back together. So if this dude's partner is not racing in a fully completed hole, together car that's not held together by bubblegum duct tape and a couple rubber bands, then sign me up, because 5-point bonus, he's only 6,600, could finish in the top 10. That gives me at least, like, I'm looking at like 8 points. I'm happy with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sold too. With Fernando Alonso, love the name. Next up, we have Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton's teammate George Russell. Pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Not real sure.
Yeah, he's a good driver, but I think this is a GPP. If Hamilton has an issue or something, if he can get up and beat him, I mean, the guy's definitely start in the top 10. So if he can maintain there, which, looking at the guys below him, I really don't see anybody rising up to challenge. I think the top 10 is pretty solid. You know, there's nobody that I see like, oh wow, this person is like way underseeded and they're just gonna shoot right up and make a huge difference. Maybe Norris. That's the only one potentially that my model's liking to get 3 points to end up in the top 10, but I think it's pretty safe there.
Pierre Gasly, AlphaTauri, 5,800 as a team. He is 7,600. Looks like this is a pretty decent value play.
Yeah, again, because of if you look at the disparity, Yuki to Tsunoda.
Yeah, we'll call him Yuki. Just call him Yuki.
Yuki. Yeah, good.
Well, that's probably not even the right pronunciation.
We're tight. We're on a first name basis, so definitely Yuki. But I don't see him moving up. I think, and the other thing too is now we're to like teams where they think there's going to be some attrition in this race through mechanical failure, and think like
57 laps.
I know, but they're long laps.
No, I know. I mean,
right.
This is what, like a 5 kilometer race.
Yeah.
So that's 2.5 miles on a road course. So, right, just over 2.5 miles, I think.
Sure. I know a 5K is 3.11 miles just from running. So
there we go. That's how many miles.
And again, sorry, if you're looking at the practice data and like, these are 1 minute and like 34 or 35 or 36 seconds. Just the math, just the way that the site had the things, I had to take the 1 off of it just because it wasn't computing correctly. So I didn't think the
134, 130.
Yeah, I didn't think the 1 really mattered. That this is just a way to kind of show you like how they did. So, but I don't see him getting up there. So I think Pierre is definitely a solid person that could. My model has him dropping down to 12th, but I think that he should be strong enough to stay close to the top 10. But regardless, he gets the 5 points, and that might be the only thing he gets. But still, that 5 points at 7,600, it's a good deal.
All right, next up is Lando Norris. We had already talked about Esteban and Mick, and when we were talking about the other two of their teammates. I'm just going to go ahead and skip them and move into Lando Norris here, 8,200, sitting outside the top 10. He's going to be one of the racers that's going to try to race in the top 10, hopefully, because I'm going to play him. I like what the model has here for him. He had the 4 podiums.
But look at the percent. 68% finishing on the lead lap. Average finish of 7th last year. Only a 4.55 DNF rate for the season. 4 races here. Average finish 6th. 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and finished every race. Those are some good numbers.
Yeah. I think he's going to be the guy that I play tomorrow, that if he doesn't make that top 10 early, I'm going to be tilting my face off and praying to God he doesn't give up. One of those type of deals. I think he's going to be ahead of his teammate. I think he's a really strong play. Lando Norris. Let's go. Him and Pierre Gasly look like they're going to be value plays with Bottas tomorrow for me. So I'm going to give him a shot. Alexander Albon. I was told to stay away from Williams Racing, so I'm going to.
Here's the thing. One of them has to get the 5 points.
It's true.
And he's only 2,800. And and his partner has been absolutely dreadful. Probably one of the worst.
So it's a free 5 for this guy.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, the other thing, like, sorry, we missed on Norris. I really like him because Ricardo had COVID early on and really didn't get a chance to do a lot of like the testing and a lot of the activities here. Kind of had to jump into the car cold, and that's why I like Norris a lot here too, because I think he's
we're playing Norris.
Yeah, I think he's good for the 5 points. But same thing with Albon.
I think I'm going to play Albon too, knowing that his teammate is trash, and it's at least a free 5 points
at 2,800. Yeah,
at 2,800.
So if you're like captaining like Verstappen and you're taking like Ferrari or Red Bull and you're trying to get like Leclerc in there also, or like a Hamilton, you're going to need this 2,800.
Yep, I'm starting to see that. All right. Guyan Yu Zhu, Alfa Romeo Racing.
He only had like 3 exhibition runs, and maybe he ran like Formula 2 or something. I didn't even look deep dive that. I'd get into the weeds on this one. But really, I presume he's a rookie.
Said he was in good race trim during practice. That's all I've seen.
But I think Gasly is going to definitely beat him. Like, could he surprise us and get up into the top 10? Possibly. I think actually when I looked at the testing, what's that?
Bottas is going to beat him. I think you said
Gasly. Sorry. I thought we dropped down to Yuki. Bottas has definitely got the stronger car. Then
should be a low owned play.
Yeah, he will, and I think it could be a GPP, because if something happens to Bottas, then definitely, or it's 2,400, and I know in like European basketball, there's times where I'll just take a 3K guy that I know has no prayer of playing, but it just gets me all the studs in my lineup. So I'll take a 0 on that one, because in this sport, you could get a 0 with like possibly 10 of these guys. Like are going to get you a 0. So why not lock in the $2,400 0 and not, play somebody like Russell for 9,600 and get a 0 for him.
Exactly. All right. Now, next up, we got our boy Yuki, AlphaTauri, 5K. Not much faith.
No.
Not much I know.
No, he's a fade.
We'll see how that goes. Aston Martin. I can't believe both of these drive. I mean, I would assume an Aston Martin is a fast car. Wow, 17th and 19th. That's
well. Sebastian isn't. I believe he has COVID. He isn't racing. There's a header on top of DK saying that there's another guy racing at his place. So do not play him. It's Nico Hulkenberger is replacing
Hulkenberg.
Is Vitella, and I haven't seen him in the DK player pool, nor would I even play him if he is, because like you might get the 5 points for him, but he's 5,800. Like, why not take, like, you got to play Albon there. If you're only going for 5 points, pay the $2,800 guy. There's no logical reason to pay $3,000 more for him.
I did not know Bottas was finished. That's awesome. All right. Danielle, we already talked about him.
Like I said, he had COVID, so I think he's a speed for me. Like, I don't think he had enough time to prepare for this. Stroll, he could potentially beat his teammate and get the 5 points, and that's what I think the projection is showing here. But at 54, I think he's maybe a wild GPP play, but if he doesn't beat his teammate, he gets you a 0. And I'd rather take a 0 at the 2,400 or like the 2,800 than the 5,400.
Yeah. Said he finished 10th in this race last year. Started 10th at the same time. So
True.
doesn't look like they got speed in the new car. So I'm out on Aston Martin. And Nicholas Latifi. If I'm playing Albon, I'm not playing Latifi.
Yeah.
I'll just make that
Yeah,
determination.
he was the clear cut worst qualifier, worse in speed, worse in everything. I don't really see a reason. And again, I'm hoping that people think this is like, don't read the rules and think this is like NASCAR.
Oh, they just stack the back.
Yeah. Well, no, you play the punt that's the cheapest guy down there. Now, okay, he might have some ownership because, like I said, if you're going to take a 0 and you're to get like higher guys, like he's the 2K 0, he's the cheapest 0. So I could see some ownership for that reason, but I'm hoping people blindly play him thinking that he has the most potential for place differential, not understanding that unless he moves, nothing happens. Now there is a little bit of place differential in the here, but it's different than NASCAR. In NASCAR, you get 1 point for every place you move, but this one it's tiered. So if you move up, if you move up 3 spots, you get 2 points. So if you get 4 spots, you still get 2 points. If you move up 5 points spots, you get 3 points. So, and then the next one is if you move up 10 points, you get places, you get 5 points. So if you move up 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you still only get 3 points. It doesn't change.
That's crazy. The highest score is going to be like 95 tomorrow. It's gonna be wild.
Yeah, potentially. I don't even know if you're going to get that high. Like, yeah, if the ownership team like is at 46 and like a 34, there's like 70. Yeah, probably
around 90, 95. All right, so at least we help break down the math portion of what to expect for Formula One DraftKings picks. Like we said earlier, we're learning as we go. Hopefully this was good, useful information, at least just talking points to help you process all this information as best you possibly can to get you started. But as we go along, and we're just being transparent, as we go along, we'll learn more about Formula One, and more of this will make sense to us, the better we'll become at this sport. And it's going to be hopefully a fun ride, right, Mega? I think we're going to try this out for the whole year. I mean,
yeah, I just hope it doesn't turn into like, I still play European League basketball. I still play, like some of these DK things that they rolled out. I still play KBO. I occasionally play, Australian rugby.
Oh, the football. AFL.
Yeah, but it's like DK rolls these things out sometimes, and then like they go hard after, and then like the player pools, like right now, I think it's like for EL, it's like 7 max $1,000 top prize, like only like 200 people in the GPP, and there's like one $10 cash game, 1 5, 1 3, and 1 1. I mean, there's really not much. I mean, at least I like that it's still there for us to play, but I just hope F1 like takes off and gets some momentum and is able to.
Now I think it's sticking around because F1 was way popular on Twitter way before DraftKings decided to pick it up. Like they have a following, people bet on this. Like I see a lot of people talking about Formula One that had nothing to do with DraftKings coming out with the lobbies. So I think they're going to be fine. I tried to get on them to get some achievements, but I haven't seen any yet.
Yeah, and this isn't a regular racing package for NASCAR. I know some of the other providers are charging a separate package for it. Not us here. Well, I mean, we're giving you free advice anyway. So like you're seeing everything right here.
Right.
So
yeah,
we're not hiding anything from you.
Right. Exactly. All right, guys. It is late. We're going to get these videos posted. Hopefully you can get some time to watch these before the race starts at 11 sharp EST Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully you have a chance to like video, comment below with any questions you may have. Mega, thank you for staying up. Thank you for getting this done for us, helping us understand some Formula One. I'm excited for the race. It doesn't run into the loop of NASCAR, so I'm going to be able to watch both. So You can follow me on Twitter at TKNation47. That is Mega Rule 31. All right, guys, have a good time. Enjoy your Sunday.